Our next presenter is Fabio Rauen, and the topic is information requests, relevance, and goal conciliation. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm pleased to present my work, information request, relevance, and goal conciliation. And this talk, I will explore how speakers proactively pursue their communicative goals when making information requests, extending the framework of relevance theory. Here's a quick overview of what I will be covering. I will start setting the context, outlining the specific problem this talk addresses. Then I will introduce the framework core, goal conciliation theory, and explain its main concepts. After that, I will show how the theory connects with relevance theory. And the heart of the talk is an example, Mary asking Peter where the bathroom is and how we can dynamically model this example exchange. And finally, I will summarize the main contributions of this framework before concluding. Okay. So why is the topic? Why this topic? Much pragmatic research, especially in relevance theory, focuses on how hearers interpret messages. That is incredibly valuable, but we still need better tools to model speakers' behavior, particularly how they plan and initiate communication. In this work, I approach communication as a fundamentally goal-driven activity. I aim to understand how both participants, the speaker, and hearer actively collaborate to reach their goals during interaction. That brings us to goal conciliation theory, or GCT. GCT, as I proposed in 2014, is rooted in relevance theory, but shifts the focus back to the speaker. In GCT, information requests are seen not as mere questions, but as intentional actions designed to help the speaker achieve a broader practical goal. To do this, the speaker mobilizes what I call enabling anti-factual abductive hypothesis. I will explain what that means in a moment, but in short, these hypotheses let the speaker plan actions that rely on the collaboration of others, what GCT calls hetero-conciliation. Here's how the theories works. As we can see in figure 1 here, GCT is built on 4 core stages. The first stage is where the agents project a goal Q. The second stage is where the agents project an anti-factual hypothesis to achieve the goal Q, their intentional action plan in my terms. The third stage is where the agents can execute the plan. And finally, the fourth stage is where the agents check whether their actions got the results they wanted. In sum, the first 3 stages here are abductive. The agents form the best possible hypothesis based on what they know. The final 3 stages are deductive. The agents check if the results match their expectations. The results Q prime match the expectations Q before them. So figure 2 here shows what can happen after the agents act. If they achieve the goal, we call that conciliation. The notion conciliation is that here. If not, we call that non-conciliation. Furthermore, those situations can be active if the agents execute the antecedent action P, or passive if the agents don't execute the antecedent action P. These categories help us to evaluate interactions outcomes, including misunderstandings, failed attempts, and achievements. Now let's talk about the antifactual hypothesis. When the agents plan an action, they rely on different kinds of assumptions about how likely it is to succeed. As you can see in figure 3, these assumptions range from categorical, which are certain, necessary, and sufficient, passing through biconditional, which are necessary and sufficient, conditional, which are sufficient but not necessary, enabling, which are necessary but not sufficient, and to tautological, the last one. The type I'm most interested in is the enabling hypothesis in head. It says if someone does the antecedent action P, then the consequent state Q become possible. The logical behind information requests is that asking is a necessary but not sufficient step toward achieving the agent's goal. Additionally, as we can see in figure 4, precisely because the goal takes precedence in mobilizing and enabling an antecedent action, communicative exchanges involve 3 layers of intention. A practical intention, like using the bathroom in my example, guides an informative intention, getting the information, which in turn guides a communicative intention, saying something. This hierarchy helps, I think, how even a short question can involve a complex planning. As I mentioned, GCT is explicitly built on a relevance theory. Relevance theories examines how hearers interpret meaning, how they derive pictures and implictures based on relevance relations. GCT, by contrast, shifts the focus to the speaker side, how speakers decide what to say to achieve their goals. Rather than only analyzing how hearers interpret messages, GCT models how speakers plan them, how one goal leads to another, how they form a hypothesis, and how they select actions. Together, these 2 perspectives, I argue, offer a more dynamic understanding of communication exchanges. Let's illustrate this framework with the following example. Now, Mary asks, where is the bathroom? And Peter's replies, it's down the hall to the right. GCT analyzes this simple exchange, considering a chain of practical, informational, and communicational intentions for both participants. The description traces the progression from Mary's initial goal to the eventual validation of Peter's collaborative effort. The methodological novelty here lies in treating the emergence and use of antifactual abductive hypotheses as implicated premises and conclusions within deductive inference chains in relevance theory. Let's start with Mary's initial context. Mary's intentional action plan begins with a triggering context. She needs to use the bathroom, and I think this is her higher level goal Q. As she doesn't know where the bathroom is, S2, and assumes Peter does, S3 and S4, Mary forms an enabling hypothesis. If she gets the location from Peter, she will likely be able to use it. Here, S1 to S4 implies the antecedent hypothesis. S5 enables S1, or P enables Q. The problem now is how to engage Peter in this task. Slide 12 shows how Mary's intentional action plan can be described in a chain of implicated premises and conclusions, one sub-goal leading to another. For Mary to engage Peter to tell the bathroom location, she must ask him as 6, which requires informing him as 7, communicating as 8, and speaking as 9. So she says, where's the bathroom? As 10. This utterance, I think, is the lowest level action in this plan, but it reflects a deep plan. Let's see Mary's plan in terms of GCT architecture. As shown in figure 5, her plan represents successive and nested subgoals L to P, aiming at a higher level practical goal Q. So, utter, communicate, inform, ask, get, or obtain, use. Furthermore, by uttering "Where is the bathroom?" as 10, Mary executes the lowest level antecedent action L. Within her plan, this action yields expectations of a probable heteroconciliation for her communicational, informational, and practical subgoals, and ultimately strengthens her expectations of achieving her higher level goal of using the bathroom. So Mary utters, Mary is probably communicating, Mary is probably informing, Mary is probably asking, Mary will probably get or obtain, Mary will probably use the bathroom. Now let's examine how Peters engages with Mary's plan. He listens to Mary's question and interprets it according to the relevance theoretic comprehension procedure, as usual, inferring her practical intention and deciding to help her. That becomes his higher level cue to provide useful information. As he knows the bathroom is down the hall to the right, S3, he also uses a chain of enabling hypotheses to inform S4, communicate S5, and utter S6 the bathroom location. So he replies, it's down the hall to the right, which is his antecedent action. This is the antecedent action in his plan, of course. So let's also see Peter's plan in terms of GCT architecture. As we can see in figure 6, this hypothesis link the utterance N, utter key, to communicate O, informant P, and ultimately fulfilling Mary's request by providing useful information. The interaction is not finished until both sides validates each other's plan. So the communicative exchange involves mutual effects on each participant's plan. Mary hears Peter's answers and confirms it makes sense, maybe by heading toward the hollow, for example. That also confirms Peter's goal. She sees that he helped her. This mutual confirmations completes the interactional circuit, In this example, both intentional plans and in heteroconciliation, they worked because they work together. In sum, GCT makes several contributions. It introduces the speaker's proactivity in pragmatic cognitive models. It explains how goals motivate and structure communication. It integrates anti-factual abductive hypotheses within deductive chains of assumptions. Future goals function as premises for abducting antecedent actions. Antecedent actions is both abductive conclusion and deductive premise. Models intentional actions planes as chains of assumptions and nested subgoals, and offer a dynamic explanatory model for collaborative goal achievement. In figure 7, we illustrate how we can translate and explain intentional action plans as sequence of assumptions structured by abduction and deduction. Methodologically, a key advancement is the integration of the emergency and use of antecedent and deductive hypotheses within deductive chains of assumptions. The model achieves this by treating future goals Q as premises and abducting enabling antecedent hypothesis PQ. The antecedent action P here functions simultaneously as the conclusion of abductive reasoning and the assertion of the minor premise in a deductive inference that enables the goal achievement, Q prime. And to conclude, goal conciliation theory provides a valuable, I think, a valuable framework for understanding information requests, not merely as utterance to interpret, but as proactive actions driven by underlying goals. Its four-stage abductive, deductive architecture and mechanisms for chaining sub-goals effectively model the agent's intentional action plan. By combining GCT speaker-centered perspective with relevance theory's emphasis on how hearers interpret the message, I think we gain a fuller, more nuanced understanding of communicative exchanges. The concept of heteroconciliation underscores the inherently collaborative nature required for a successful goal achievement in communication. And finally, I think this framework opens paths for futures to research to future research to explore its application to other types of communicative actions, analyze instances of non-conciliation, and models more complex interaction sequences. I appreciate your attention. Thank you very much. Now, I welcome for any questions or comments you have. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fabio. Now the floor is open to questions or suggestions, comments. Please speak up if you're ready with your question. So maybe to encourage some other participants, I'll start. Just a clarification question. This kind of model applies only to information requests, right?
No, it applies any kind of proactive action. Information request I pick up to explain here to connect with relevance theory. When I think this idea, I start with relevance theory and try to model how the speaker can be thinking inside this framework. And before and after, the idea becomes more and more interesting to explain the action before the speakers decide to speak. So the idea is and goal is the first is the first step, and after the speaker abduct an anti-factual hypothesis to choose the best way to, in the case of a communicative exchange, to engage the speakers to do something. Yeah, and after the theory becomes more and more interesting to do that.
Thank you. Is there anybody else ready to ask a question? So another question that I've got then is about those practical intentions. While we are familiar with communicative and informative intentions, of course, I would like to find out how you define practical intentions. So what is a practical intention, in fact? Practical goals are easy to understand, but practical intentions, that's a sort of innovative approach, I think.
Despite my difficulties to express myself in English, I try to explain that. It's a consequence of the model. Why? When I inform someone about something, my question is to inform is the last intention here, or in most cases, or even all the cases, is there is a practical intention involved. For example, the classical example, your coat is on fire. I inform someone, I only inform someone the coat is on fire, or I think it's better the person, the someone to take off the coat here because it's on fire. For example, now the buildings of fire. And I can answer it. Thank you. I am informed about that, but you can continue the conference. No, we need to welcome to go out the conference room because the building is on fire. But the idea here is when we are proactively pursuing goals, we are also making practical intentions. So for me, there are three layers of intentions in communicative exchange in practice. Here, this is my answer. Here.
Okay. Thank you very much. Are there any other questions, comments? We still have some time left. If not, then I would like to thank Fabio very much once again. Thanks a lot. And I'll ask now Aglialia Ruki to upload her presentation.